Starbucks is pretty much on every corner in the big cities, specifically New York, and the company purchases and roasts whole bean coffees and sells them along with handcrafted coffee and tea beverages and a variety of fresh food items.
Right, so we didn't really mention this, but for those who are not all that well initiated, there are actually bushes that coffee beans grow on, right? That's where it comes from. And of course we know those, we have the two brands of, or types of coffee plant. One is the Arabica, the other one is Robusta. Robusta is a little bit more bitter, but it's cheaper and quicker and grows faster all over the place. The major producing countries of course, Africa, in that belt from east to west Africa, close to the equator. Brazil is also a big producer. And companies like Starbucks acquire those. But what I liked about your presentation there was the point that there's a whole lot of mumbo jumbo about gourmet coffees. People love these in-store experiences where you have your particular flavor branded coffee that you can order as you stand there in the queue.
We didn't ask you what your favorite Nespresso capsule is.
So I use the black ones, which are the number 10s. What is the name of that?
I don't know what that is. I use the dark turquoise ones, which are also around about 11, so it's just probably one below your
I thought
black.
10 was the maximum.
No, they're definitely 11 and 12, I believe.
Look,
anyway,
let's bring the conversation
market
back
cap,
to
$77 billion.
Yes.
PE
okay.
of 30.3 and a dividend yield of 1.2. So this is expensive, sir.
True, but it is a company that is really hitting the straps and executing particularly well. Headquartered in Seattle, founded by a guy called Howard Schultz. They've taken this brand into, as you say, just about every single street corner in America. It's also huge in China. We've spoken about this many times.
And the brand association, walking
Indeed.
around with your Starbucks coffee in the morning is something out of a movie.
Indeed. I checked this out when I went to China last year, and I was at Payne's. They run those stores very well, as Chinese people tend to do. The corporate presence is very good. And a lot of the buzz about Starbucks, which has lifted it right up there after the split, they did a share split to this new all-time high, is in fact associated with the idea that sales have been strong. There's mobile ordering that's coming in America. That's where people actually, when they're on their way to the Starbucks, put their order in via a mobile app, and it's waiting for them as they arrive. Because that's one of the things that happens at Starbucks. There's a little bit of a wait between when you order and when it comes out. And the other thing that they've mentioned is that there's huge potential to sell more food. Because, let me crystallize this, when you go in America to a McDonald's store, you are surrounded by people who are mostly looking like they're a little down on their luck. When you go into a Starbucks store, let me tell you, there are just rich-looking people everywhere. Business people wearing suits, young professionals busy using the Wi-Fi connection, well-dressed. It's a premium product brand, and so that's why you can sell coffees at that high margin
and you
price.
Can sell those fresh sandwiches and...
Indeed, and it's all kind of healthy food stuffs. So they're positioning the food in the same way as they position the coffee.
Healthy food stuffs? What Starbucks have you been visiting? I'm not sure I see any
No, it's a fair point, but there's been a big growth of menu items in the more healthy arena. So they've kind of cut down on the toasted sandwiches and things like that, and they're sort of gourmet sandwiches, nut bars, those kinds of health foods.
You're not worried about paying up for this business at a 30 PE?
Not particularly. I mean, they're already ubiquitous in the markets where they're strong. There it's an infill thing and the mobile ordering thing, which is going very well, very good for margins. But in new markets, it is really a growth opportunity. So Starbucks in China. Interestingly, no Starbucks here in this country, although the Seattle brand, which they do own as well, is present here. You'll be familiar with that. And it's possible that they'll come back to South Africa. Someone in this country needs to do something with Vida Cafe, because that is a real market leader here.
We've spoken about this before, but why do we not see Starbucks gaining traction or establishing itself across the African continent? Because you would assume that that is a perfect geography.
You would say so, and I think it's coming. It's just a matter of timing. You know, you've got Europe still relatively underdeveloped for Starbucks. They've moved heavily into the UK. They're moving into continental USA now, more and more stores being opened. So I think it's just a matter of timing.
Hot or not?
I think it's definitely hot. It's got all the opportunity to do that. And even people in America who don't care about the emerging market opportunity think it's a huge buy on the strength of its US business. So definitely hot for me.